What's going on, guys? So we started doing a lot more, I guess, in-person installs with you guys on YouTube, and people absolutely loved it. A lot of people said it was helpful, and we wanted to show you a little sneak peek of like our R&D process and how we actually make some of our products and our designs. So in today's video, we are actually going to show you a prototype for the rear door of the Model 3 Highland or 2024. You know, if you're wondering why you would PPF, I mean, this is a pretty fairly new car and there's already a chip right here. What we're gonna first do is just wet this all down. And I'm gonna make a confession, it's not as clean as we should have it. We've been doing a lot to this car, so I apologize in advance. We are just doing this more for R&D purposes. So you wanna douse it with a lot of what we call slip solution. And I like to explain all this for people who are just coming in. It's essentially just soap. It allows the film to slide, because if it doesn't, it will just stick, and you don't want that. You want to slide it into position and then after anchor it down. So this is a prototype. There might be some areas that might be slightly off, but I think it'll be pretty close. We want to show you like an early prototype. So what I was just doing right now is getting the last minute debris, because when you want a clean install, you just want to make sure that you get everything off, right? So here's my piece. Boom, right here. And I'm just gonna start, that looks good, right here in the top. All right, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna dry that corner out. Why? Because when it's dry, it's actually gonna stick. Look at that right there, it sticks. And I'm just gonna get under here and peel it out from the corner. Once that's good, what we're gonna do is we're gonna hydrate the top layer, okay? And look at that. So at this step, you saw how much soap I was using, right? It's a pretty significant amount. And all we're gonna try to do is flatten it, no more bubbles. And then the first stage is going to be lining up this door. And you can see the top is pretty good, and also this is another factor right here. There is a body curve right here. So we just wanna make sure it's flat right there. So that's fairly good. I might edit some stuff, but I'm gonna go ahead, and once I'm happy with the alignment, I can focus on getting this door right here, and then kind of go around it, and then you can just go like that. This is the red bottle, and what it is, it's gonna be typically clean water, like deionized, really good water, and that is enough to actually act as a tack solution. And that just makes it so that the tack solution activates adhesive underneath, which makes it a little bit more permanent. So whenever you do that, guys, do not go back to wherever you tacked. You just gotta make sure that you go away from wherever you just tacked. So we're good right there. In this case, this aligns right to the edge. We are probably gonna make it go a little bit past it in the final design, but when I'm doing this, sometimes I just work to where it needs to be. And then I'm gonna just line it up right here. And that top is just perfect right there. Think about this body line that's really obvious. I'm just gonna work into all these areas, okay? All right, so this is the fun part right here. There's some, I'm gonna flatten it out first. Don't forget to spray on top as well. That acts as a lubrication. And then I love this squeegee, and you can go straight out. There we go. Just gonna Pinching that out. Great. So you can see now anything above that is good. Before we move on, I have a lot of time because again, I can rehydrate that bottom. But what you want to do is repeat the step. We call this double take in a lot of our videos, and you're just making sure, again, don't go back to the tacked areas, and I'm focusing on all these. And one thing too is you can actually remove this trim too. For this video, I didn't. If you're good, you're gonna inspect these areas for maybe dirt or anything like that. This is the time to do it, guys. And then I can actually use tack. And then what we call sealing the edges. So we're just gonna seal the edges by just making sure. The reason why we do that is even if the trim is off, the top tends to be an area where a lot of the water wants to sit, right? So by doing this, you're ensuring that the water doesn't actually come back. This is a pretty one, easy one to be able to just flip. And look at that, I can just flip up all the way here and then rehydrate it. So very, very easy to do what I did. And then what we're gonna do is gonna get rid of all this bigger bubbles that has settled. And we're just gonna move some things around right here. Notice how I'm focusing on this corner right here first. Just going to move that in. Look at that. That's good. And if you have, that's pretty solid. And now we have this tack. I'm just gonna go ahead and go away. And then make sure that there's enough slip and go away from that. I'm gonna go into right here. One differentiation and pro tip, I actually told this to a friend today, is that when you're transitioning from vinyl to PPF, in vinyl you have a squeegee on felt, and you just kind of do this really nice, 45-degree or even less in a very straight line and an angle. And when you do that, it's very smooth. In PPF, it's more like 6 to 8 inches, and then you're like pulling down on the water. The reason why you do that is like as you move little by little, you're hydrating the next section so that you're not gonna create any dry spots as well, right? And that's very important because when you do PPF, you do create a lot of dry spots. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna finish this out real quick. Kind of focusing on, under here. And I'm gonna do that double take that I mentioned, right? So again, starting from the body line, I actually started right here. I'm gonna go away from it. I like to just mimic exactly what I did. Cool. And then you see how I'm working in sections. I first align the door handle, and then after that, I work this above this body line right here, and then I work down this middle section right here, and then finally I get to the end. Once you do all of those things, everything should align, right? So overall, with this pattern, pretty happy with it. I mean, it's slightly long in certain areas, but this is the fun part where we can kind of edit and make some decisions based on what we think our customer needs. So this is obviously very long, which is fine because we can just edit that. And then it folds over all the edges everywhere around, okay? And then it also just goes right to it, mainly because I think most people don't really want to remove this. Professional, not an issue to remove this, but I think sometimes for a do-yourselfer, like when they remove it, they can bend this because it's a metal. So once it's bent, it can be harder to put back. So lastly, we're gonna do the double take right here. So why would you do the doors? So the main reason I think, and I tell people is like, if you live in a city that's like super populated, densely populated, and parking spots are just like small and people just get like door dings right after another, like the doors is gonna save you a lot of time. The other thing is like, I have a kid, and like these areas, when that's at their level, they can hit all these areas too. So when you have this wrapped, it protects the edges, and the edges do chip really easily. So there's a lot of reasons, but those are, I think, the more popular reasons. But that's pretty much the process. I guess the next process here would be, you would be sealing all the edges, right? So what I would do is once I'm done, I wanna kind of keep this open, right? and see if you can see it. Oh my God, car's dirty. And then before we move on to the next door, what I'll do is I'll get water, like clean water. And then I'm just gonna shoot it all across the edges. So what is this doing? One, we're just cleaning it up and getting rid of any slip solution that might be sitting. And then the part of the process of tack solution is not just about putting water, it's mostly about flushing out the slip solution, because the slip solution is what prevents it from sticking. What I do is I get the squeegee and I just make sure there's no small fingers anywhere across the edges. And then I let this sit for like hours, sometimes overnight. And then I come back, and then right now, like if I feel it right here, it's not dry. And it's not very sticky. It feels, there's no adhesive tack. You come back the next day, this will be completely dry. It'll be a little bit milky in texture. And then it almost acts like vinyl, right? So in vinyl, all you do is you get heat, and then you kind of roll it around in sections like this. And then at that point, it'll just roll it into place. But that's pretty much done. And obviously, don't close it, because if you close it, your edges are going to be like compromised. So if you were doing it, I would leave the doors open and then get back to it and then finalize the edges. Well, hopefully that was informative and gave you a little bit understanding of how paint protection film for the do-yourself works on this door of a 2024 Model 3. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments below. Please subscribe to our channel. We have a lot of content focused on customization, protection, and maintenance, in this case, paint protection film. So we really appreciate it if you do, and we'll see you later.